Professor at LD Institute of Engineering and Technology in the Department of Instrumentation and Control. Today's our topic is inverse Z transform in unit number 4, discretization of the continuous timing system. In the last session, we will study about the different types of signal and then we will study about their Z transform. Okay, so first of all, inverse Z transform, we have followed two methods to find out the inverse Z transform. The first one is the direct division method and the second one is the partial fraction method. So in this lecture, we will study one by one to find out the inverse Z transform. So first method is direct division method. Okay, so in the direct division method, they will given x of k for k is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 when our signal is x of z that is equal to tan z plus 5 upon z minus 1 and in the another bracket z minus 0.2. We have to apply a direct division method and we have to find the value of x of k. So first of all, we have to simplify this equation so we can get x of z that is equal to tan z plus 5 upon z square minus 1.2z plus 0.2. We have multiplied the denominator term z minus 1 and then z minus 0.2. Now the next is we have simplified again x of z and we can get 10 into z minus 1 plus 5 into z minus 2 upon 1 minus 1.2 z inverse plus 0.2 z minus 2. Now how we can write this equation? So simply we have to see that in the denominator the maximum power of z is 2. So we can always multiply this equation with z raised to minus 1. So here you can see that 10 into z raised to minus 2, we can get 10 into z minus 1 plus 5 into z minus 2, it is very simple, upon z square into z minus 2, it becomes 1 minus 1.2 as it is and z into z minus 2 that becomes z raised to minus 1 and the last term is 0.2 into z minus 2. Now the next step is we have to divide the numerator to the denominator to find the value of x of k. Okay, so the next simply we can write here 10 z raised to minus 1 plus 5 z raised to minus 2. Now our first step is we have to multiply this denominator term with 10 into z minus 1. So we can get 10 into z minus 1 into 1 becomes 10 into z minus 1 plus 10 into z minus 1 into 2, it is the 1.2 z raised to minus 2 plus 2 into z raised to minus 3. We can get 10 into z minus 1 minus 10 into z minus 1, which is cancel out. We can get 17 into z minus 2 minus 2 into z minus 3. Now next step is we have to multiply the denominator term with the 17 into z minus 2. So we can write here plus 17 into z minus 2. We can get 17 into z minus 2 minus 17 into 2. We can get 20.4 into z minus 3 plus 17 into 0.2. We can get 3.4 z raised to minus 4. Now the next is the term 17 into z minus 2 and minus 17 into z minus 2 is cancel out. We can get 20.4 z raised to minus 3. It is plus minus 2 into z minus 3. We can get 18.4 z raised to minus 3 plus and minus. So it becomes minus 3.4 z raised to minus 4. Now the next step is we have to multiply the 18.4 into 1.2, we can get 92.08 and z raised to minus 4. Because z raised to minus 3 into z raised to minus 1 becomes z raised to minus 4 plus 3.68 z raised to minus 5. Simplify this equation and the term 18.4 z raised to minus 3 cancel out. We can get 18.68 z raised to minus 4 minus 3.68 z raised to minus 5. Now it is easy. The next step is we have to multiply the denominator with the 18.68. We can get 18.68 z raised to minus 4 minus 3.68 z raised to minus 4. So we can get this type of answer. The term 18.69 cancel out. We can get some answer. So it is the unlimited process. Now our question is we have to find the value of x of a. So for that we can get x of z, and x of z is nothing but the 10 into z raised to minus 1 plus 17 into z raised to minus 2 plus 18.4 z raised to minus 3 plus 18.68 z raised to minus 4. Now the next step is the power of z is negative. So it's a causal system, and for that the equation of x of z, that is equal to summation of n is equal to 0 to infinite x raised to n z raised to minus n. So for this, using this equation, we have to find the value of x of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3. So for that, we can get x of 0 is equal to 0, x of 1 that is equal to 10, x of 2 is equal to 17, x of 3 that is equal to 18.4, and x of 4 that is equal to 18.68. So our final answer x of n, we can also write here x of k, that is equal to, in the curly bracket, the coefficient of x of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is nothing but the 0, 10, 17, 18.4 and 18.60. Here the arrow indicates this is the one-sided z transform. So using the direct division method, we can easily find the inverse z transform for the particular equation of x of z. The next method is partial fraction method. As we know, in the partial fraction, we will find the value of a, b, and c, and then we have to find the inverse z transform value. And for that, the equation is given. So the equation is given x of z, that is equal to 1 minus e raised to a upon z minus 1, z minus e raised to a. Okay, determine x of kt by partial fraction expansion method. As you know, x of z is our z transform equation, and x of kt, t is the sampling period and k is our sample. So we have to find the value of x of kt. So first of all, write the equation x of z upon z, that is equal to 1 minus e raised to at upon z minus 1, z minus e raised to a. Okay, now next step is we have to apply a partial fraction method, and for that we can write the equation like this: a upon z minus 1 plus b upon z minus a. Now simplify this equation, so we can get in the left hand side 1 minus e raised to at, that is equal to, here you can see that a will be multiplied with z minus e raised to at plus b multiplied with z minus 1. It is simply a cross multiplication. So we can get a into z minus e raised to at plus b into z minus 1. Now simplify this equation. So we can multiply the a with the z minus e raised to at. We can get az minus a into e raised to minus at plus b into z minus b. Okay, now simply we have to equate the constant term. So we can get a plus b that is equal to 0 because the left hand side there is a no term with z term. So we can get a plus b is equal to 0. So we can get a is equal to minus b. Now next step is we have to equate the constant term, and the constant term is nothing but the minus a e raised to minus at minus b that is equal to 1 minus e raised to at. Okay, so we have common out the term a, so we can get minus a e raised to at plus a that is equal to 1 minus e raised to at. So in the bracket 1 minus e raised to at into a is equal to 1 minus e raised to at. In the both side, left hand side and the right hand side, the term 1 minus e raised to minus at is cancelled out, and we can get a is equal to 1. Now you can see that in the upper side e is equal to minus b. So what is the value of b? So we can get b is equal to minus a and a is equal to 1. So we can get b is equal to minus 1. Now here we can put the value of a and b in the previous equation. We can get this type of equation: x of z upon z that is equal to 1 upon z minus 1 minus 1 upon z minus e raised to minus 8. Okay, so simplify this equation. We can multiply the z with this term. We can get x of z that is equal to z upon z minus 1 minus z upon z minus e raised to 80. Okay, again we have simplified this equation. We can get 1 upon 1 minus z inverse minus 1 upon 1 minus e raised to 80 z inverse. So this is the equation of x of z. Now we have to find the value of x of kt. So we have to find the inverse of the 1 upon 1 minus z inverse. As you know, the z transform of the unit step function is z upon z minus 1. So if we can find the inverse of z upon z minus 1, that is equal to unit step, and the value of the unit step is 1. So here you can see that in the final answer we can write x of kt that is equal to 1 minus, here you can see that 1 upon 1 minus e raised to 80 z inverse. This is the z transform of the e raised to minus 80 term. So inverse z is e raised to minus a at, where the t is the sampling period and t is our sample. Okay, so this is the final answer using the partial fraction method. Okay, thank you everyone.